Hi everyone, welcome back to Brookdale Farm. Well, I just thought it was time to walk down to our Peter Andrews style leaky weirs in our creek and have another look at them. Now, we've had a lot of questions about these recently. So I just thought that I would do a video to answer some of the questions rather than trying to just type back to everybody. Now, this is our creek line that runs down through here. We've got 1 kilometre of creek line running through our property, which is lovely. But it's quite badly eroded in places. There's a number of other places that we are using leaky weirs as well that aren't necessarily in the creek beds, in the main creek bed. This was the first one we built, and probably one of the least successful because the rocks we've used in here are too coarse and it doesn't actually slow the water down enough. It is getting better over time. Now, the leaky weirs, there's a couple of different ideas about them. Some people like to stop the water completely and have the creek flowing over the top of them when the creek's running fast, and basically a big pond behind it at other times. The other type is one that slows the water, but you always get some water coming through. Now, the reason for slowing the water is because any of the silt and stuff that it has carried down from upstream will get deposited here. And as that silt builds up and fills up this channel, the creek will sort of spread out a bit more over the flats. The silt deposit holds an awful lot of water, and slowing the water down means that the floodplain out here, this flat section, can also fill up with water. This means that even in summer on a really dry year, you will get water seeping out from all around this floodplain and from the silt you've collected here, and you will get a very small flow coming out the bottom of your creek all year round. Also, it helps once you have filled the soil moisture level up in all of this floodplain area, you get green grass here for much longer. Now, all of our leaky weirs are a little bit too low still. These walls really need to be built up a little bit, and it should go a lot further out that side, all along that flat area, to sort of create a ponding effect there, and a little bit back across here as well. Now, this one, I think, has 11 tons of rocks in it at the moment. And these are all hand-picked. I go out with the front end loader and as many friends as I can muster to come and pick up rocks, and we dump them in the creeks. So we are going to make, we do plan to extend this wall a lot further over time. But we've been using all the rocks that we've been picking for other projects recently, and I just haven't had time to put more rocks in here. One of Peter Andrews' other recommendations is planting the top end up here. And some of our other leaky weirs we have planted around. This one we haven't yet. We've got a lot of grass and stuff starting to come, and it's starting to grow in the bank too, which is really good. This shows that it is starting to hold the soil in the rocks better. The reason that we haven't planted here is because I haven't fenced this section of the creek yet. So when I get enough money to buy materials, we're going to fence all the way down here, right down to our bottom boundary. And I've got about halfway down the creek so far on both, well, that side of the creek is fully fenced over there. This side is fenced about halfway down, and we have started planting the top end of it that's been fenced. And as we get down here, we intend to plant down here as well. Now, one question we had is why not put it right at the end of the channel here? I wasn't sure how wide this was going to be, so I put it a little way back up. This is where we drive across the creek here to get to the bottom paddocks over here. Just below where we drive across, there's another natural leaky weir with branches and things like that in it. Often we throw branches in as well. This helps to hold the silt back. This one doesn't have many in it at the moment, but any organic matter that you can put in here. We also put hay and straw and things like that in when we've got spares, although that breaks down reasonably quickly. But because this channel is so deep and runs so far, we have got a whole series of these leaky weirs along here to help our creek line out. We're a little bit further down the creek here. The other leaky weir is up that way about 100 metres. This is one of the other ones that we have been building. Now, the one up there was just done with the front end loader dropping rocks in. Since then we've started placing the rocks by hand. So we put big ones on either side of it and fill the middle with smaller ones. This helps to hold the water back a little bit better. And then on the downstream side you want to taper it off a little bit. This just helps take some of the energy out of the water when you've got a strong flow coming through. If you get a waterfall coming straight down this side, it will start eroding a big hole on the bottom side of your leaky weir, which isn't ideal. So if you put a more gentle slope on that side, it just keeps the water running a bit slower and stops it eroding on the bottom side so much. So this one still needs to be built up a long way, and we still have a reasonable flow through here. But if we just come up here, you can see that it is, try and get the sun out of the way. You can see that it is actually holding a fair bit of water back up here. So gradually, because we've slowed the water right down, it's going to start depositing, and you can see here it's already started depositing some of its silt. We've got grasses starting to grow down here. The main reason for doing this one was to try and save this tree here, to stop the bank here from eroding any further. And I think we're starting to do that now. We've got an awful lot of leaf litter here. We've got a branch here which is also helping to slow everything down. And this leaky weir is going to start slowing things down too. This one we've only built, well, we've started building, well, we've got a little bit further with it this year. We started it a number of years ago, but we only really got one layer of rocks on here. And we've got a bit further this year, and hopefully we'll get a bit further with it next year. This is one of our other leaky weirs in here. And this is one that Dad built, and it's got the two big rocks on either side with the small ones in the middle. This one works very well. We've also got a lot of these reeds growing in the creek here, and they're not great reeds, but this is one of the areas we've been planting. So there's saltbush over there. That's old man saltbush. These also make a great bridge across the creek anywhere you want to put a bridge. So we've got old man in here, river saltbush, old man down there. So looking from here, we'll just go for a little bit of a walk through and have a look at some of the different varieties of plants we've got growing. We've got an awful lot of saltbush. We've put in hundreds of saltbush over the years. Salignas, There's a whole bundle of eremophilas and things like that. There's a lot of different types of clover and other grasses. If we wander, there it is down there. We've tried kangaroo grass and wallaby grass. That's not growing particularly well. This stuff here that's died off from last season is Puccinelia. It's a very salt tolerant grass, and there was hardly any of it here when we started, but this is all just self-seeded over time. It's a little bit hard to get the seed for it, but it's well worth growing if you've got a degraded area of land. There was nothing at all that would grow on this bank here other than wild oats. That was just thick with wild oats. Where was the other bit that I saw? There we go, down here. This is Neptune Messina, a clover that was developed in South Australia, I think by SADI, South Australian Ag Department over there. And this stuff just grows like anything. The seed is quite expensive, but it's just gradually, we got a small bag and it's just gradually been spreading every year. You can see all the flowers in here that are starting to come, and it produces heaps of seed. And what's this? This stuff is more than my elbow height, so and it grows thick, and we've just been gradually spreading this round the place, and this works really well in degraded areas of land. These small leaky weirs in this gully here are probably some of the most successful ones we have put in. Once again, this whole area around here was bare salt scald that we have replanted. Now, this doesn't get a huge amount of water down it, but it had an awful lot of erosion in it. And we had enough water come down this one at one stage to wash away half of the leaky weir. But you can see on this side, we're sort of down to hard pan here. And on this side, we've probably got an extra 200 millimeters of silt and stuff here. We've got grasses starting to grow in it and on the leaky weir. We've got saltbush over there that we have planted. We put down a fair bit of straw over the years to mulch this. Coming back, we've got patches of more Messina growing everywhere along here. That's gradually spreading. If I just take you down the creek here a little bit, you can really see how much difference it makes. So this one here is in a gully that's a smallish gully, but this was more than knee deep here. Because we've slowed down the water on the downstream side, this is starting to fill in a little bit too. But we've blocked this up with rocks and sticks and stuff like that, and it's completely filled in up here. Now this is on a really small scale, but with our dry summer that we had this year, we still had water seeping out just from this little bit here, down here, in February and March, which once we can get things to start growing a bit more in these, that is going to make a huge difference. We actually had some bits of green grass up here through to January, so I think this tiny one here is probably the best example we have of just how well these leaky weirs can help to stop erosion, and just how much water even a little one like this will hold. We haven't had rain here for, it hasn't been that long, it's been about a week week and a half of nice sunny weather we've had now. Yet we've still got water flowing out of the bottom of this and flowing out of the next one up, but above that it's dry. Anyway, I hope this has shown you a little bit more about how our leaky weirs work and how we build them. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.